this isn't going to be a video with fancy editing and stuff and explosions going on everywhere. If this is what you wanted to watch, then I invite you to click off this video because it's not gonna help you. This video was specifically designed for the people who want to get ahead in life and accomplish their goals faster. Maybe you want to travel the world or have a sustainable high income to provide for your family. Or maybe you simply want to live a life of abundance and of freedom. If this is you, then this video is for you. Are you an addict? Let's face it, we're all hooked. What's the first thing that most people do in this day and age when they wake up? They grab their phone, they open up TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, YouTube, and they start scrolling. So not only do you start your day by exposing yourself to other people's lives and to other people's agendas and to social media's fake expectations, but on top of that, you are releasing a lot of dopamine inside of your brain, which is a neurotransmitter produced in several areas of the brain that plays a role in many different brain functions, including movement, motivation, reward, and pleasure. Whenever dopamine is released in your brain, it creates feelings of pleasure and reward, and it reinforces the behavior that you just did. Meaning whenever you feel some pleasure when doing a specific activity like eating, scrolling on social media, binge watching movies, having sex, your brain is going to register those feelings and to remember that those activities feel very good and very pleasurable. Therefore, you will start to crave to do it again. The thing that you need to understand is that as human beings, we are genetically programmed, hardwired to seek out the things that make us feel good, the things that make us feel pleasure, and to avoid the things that are uncomfortable or that are painful. This is how our species managed to survive throughout the centuries. However, the issue is that in the modern world that we live in today, for the most part, we have access to so much easy instant gratification that we barely have to make any effort to obtain it. Think about it. Why would you bother going out, socializing, and trying to seduce a girl you're into when you can just get that quick, easy dopamine by opening up your favorite website in incognito navigation? The first option, which is to go out, to talk to real people, to talk to real women, is uncomfortable. By doing this, you're willing to expose yourself to failure and also to potential rejection. And let's face it, no one enjoys getting rejected. It just doesn't feel good. But the thing that you will very quickly realize is that the best things in life are the things that don't feel good right now, the second we do them, but that feel incredible afterwards. For instance, taking a nice cold shower doesn't feel that good when you hop under the water and it's freezing. But when you step out of the shower, you're feeling fresh, alert, ready to crush your goals. Same thing with going out to speak to a stranger. It won't necessarily feel good the moment you do it, but you will feel proud of yourself when you've done it, because you will have done something that felt uncomfortable. Pushing yourself out of your comfort zone is essential if you have big goals to accomplish and if you want to create a life of abundance, of love, and of freedom for yourself. In this world, no matter what the government or no matter what people tell you, freedom isn't a given. It's something that you've got to earn through hard work and sacrifice. And very few people ever manage to make it to the top. Doing a dopamine detox, getting rid of all of that excess dopamine inside of your system that is making you lethargic, that is preventing you from getting up every day, ready to crush your goals, will significantly increase your chances of joining the top 1% and of building that life of abundance and freedom for yourself. Have you ever heard less is more? To some people, doing less is going to sound super counterintuitive, for how could doing less could bring you more results? Dopamine detox is about removing all of the waste from your life. It's about subtracting things instead of adding a bunch of things to your to-do list that aren't even necessary. Think about it. What's the first thing that most people literally do when they want to be more productive? Cutting back on sleep to get up earlier and adding a bunch of additional tasks on their to-do lists. That doesn't actually make you more productive. If anything, it's really the opposite. Being sleep deprived absolutely destroys your productivity, and the more tasks you have written down on your to-do list, the less things you're actually going to get done. The thing that you need to understand is that when you remove everything from your life, anything that gives you a lot of easy access, instant gratification, and pleasure such as junk food, watching Netflix, sugar, texting, adult films, you'll quite frankly start to get bored pretty quickly. But the good news is that when you're bored, adding in a couple of hours of deep work each day is going to be rather effortless for you because it's going to give you a surge of dopamine when you complete your work-related tasks. The reason why most people fail and go right back to square one on a dopamine detox is because they're trying to go too fast and they're essentially skipping all of the steps. So because they have a weak foundation, everything falls apart. Think about it. If you're trying to build a house, but the foundations are not solid, if you're trying to build on top of that, everything is going to fall apart like wind blowing a house of cards. Now in comparison, if you've got strong, robust foundations that you took the time to carefully build, you'll be able to build an incredible, a magnificent house, and most importantly, it is going to stand the test of time. It's not going to fall apart when there's a little wind or a little rain. The thing that most people don't understand is that in order to make fast progress, you actually need to be willing to to take things slow. This is a key concept that a lot of people just don't get. But if you understand it, I guarantee that you'll get ahead of 99% of people very quickly. Most people will have probably clicked off this video by now and go watch some PewDiePie or some Mr. Beast, highly edited, highly engaging video. But you know what? Good for them. Let them fall right back into instant gratification while you're moving forward and you're making progress in life. In order to make fast progress, you actually need to be willing to take things slow. What this means is that if your goal is to get the fastest results possible, and let's not pretend here, I mean, who doesn't want to get results as quickly as possible? Then you have to be willing to take things slow and to put one foot in front of the other day after day for a consistent period of time. It's like when you're going to the gym and you're lifting weights. Yeah, maybe you can try to lift more weight than what you can handle. You can ego lift because it's gonna make you feel a bit good about yourself. It's gonna pump up your ego a little bit, but you're definitely not going to make as much progress as quickly as the guy who's carefully lifting weights that he can actually handle. They're not impressive weights, but he can actually do full range of motion with them. So if you want to avoid the trap that literally 99.9% of people fall for on a dopamine detox, you must keep your ego in check and be willing to slowly but surely put one foot in front of the other day after day. Most people think that the reason they're not where they want to be in life is because they lack energy, time, or knowledge. None of this is true. When it comes to energy, sure, some people naturally have more energy than others, but for most people, the real reason as to why you don't have any energy isn't because of some mystical, some secret condition that's plaguing you. It's actually because you're up your brain with so much dopamine that your dopamine receptors are completely fried, therefore taking away all motivation to do basic things in life. And by the way, when I say these things, it's not a judgment. We are all like this, me included. Understand that as human beings, we are biologically designed, programmed to seek out dopamine as it ensured our survival as a species for centuries. For instance, if back then a member of the tribe found some honey, it was a really good thing because it's a calorically dense food, therefore it meant surviving longer. So the brain would reward ingesting highly calorific foods for that reason. The same applies to procreation. It feels pleasurable because it's nature's way of making sure that we will keep perpetuating the species. So now that we've laid the proper solid foundations, let's jump into the rules of the dopamine detox. The first rule is no stimulants, no junk food, no sugar, and you also want to limit your caffeine intake as much as possible. The reason for that is because all of those things, they spike up your dopamine. Think about it. How hard is it going to be to follow a healthy meal plan and a workout routine if you're constantly getting so much dopamine from eating all of this sugar and all of this junk food? People who eat that shit all the time, they don't even appreciate the taste of real natural foods. Most kids don't even like vegetables, and I get it, sometimes they're poorly cooked, but if you cook them well, vegetables taste incredible. Now when it comes to caffeine isn't necessarily bad. It all depends on how you're using it. I personally only drink tea, never coffee, and when I do, I stop drinking any kind of caffeine after 12 p.m. because I want to give my body enough time to eliminate the caffeine from my system by the time I go to sleep so that I can have the highest sleep quality possible at night. Now if you really want to take the dopamine detox to a more hardcore level, then look up the foods that have caffeine in them, such as chocolate, and eliminate them as well. And the thing that you need to realize is that technically speaking, scientifically speaking, caffeine is a drug, and when you drink too much caffeine, you simply get desensitized. This is what the dopamine detox is all about. It's not something that you will do on a long-term basis because it's a detox. It's very intense, and I don't think that you should go your entire life without necessarily eating some junk food or without drinking a cup of tea or a cup of coffee if you enjoy it. Rather, the dopamine detox is meant especially for people who overloaded their system with so much dopamine that they really need to take a break from it. And this also applies to you if you have some big goals to reach. Maybe you want to start a successful business, maybe you want to get in shape, maybe you want to start dating. All of those are big goals that require you to become a better version of yourself, and the dopamine detox can help you do just that because it's going to push you out of your comfort zone, and it's also going to increase your confidence because you're going to see that you can actually do something that's hard, you can actually push through, and you're going to have some thoughts telling you that, oh, it's okay, I should go eat some junk food, or I can go and take some coffee. But when you just observe those thoughts, you don't listen to them, and you stick to the plan anyway, your self-confidence is going to tremendously increase because you realize you have power over your mind, and the man who has power over his mind can literally change anything he wants in his reality. The second rule that you must follow on a dopamine detox is to cut out all forms of entertainment. So for instance, TV, you shouldn't watch that. Movies, gone. TV shows, gone. Netflix, gone. YouTube, gone. The only exception to the rule is that you can still watch some YouTube videos if they're like interviews or educational videos like this one, but you're actually writing down some notes and you plan on using what you learn later on. Because the truth is that what I've noticed for most people, and even for myself, is that when we go on YouTube, even when we watch content about being productive or monk mode or dopamine detox, detox or starting a business, usually we're watching these kind of videos more to entertain ourselves rather than to actually learn something that we're going to implement in our daily lives. And the thing that you don't realize, and we'll talk about this in the third rule of dopamine detox, is that watching entertainment, like watching movies or TV shows, it kind of has the same effect on your brain as it does to be browsing social media, because you're going, for instance, to watch some fiction, you're going to be influenced by what you see on the screen. Like for instance, how many people have you seen watch the James Bond movie and then they start to walk around standing tall thinking that they're James Bond, when this is just a movie that you watched? This is not you, this isn't your life. And if anything, you should turn your life into a movie, not watch movies to escape from your own life. So just because it's a movie or a TV show or a YouTube video or some fiction that you read, it doesn't mean that it's not influencing your perception of the world. Now the third rule on a dopamine detox is to remove social media completely. So you want to get off your phone, you want to get off the screens, and instead, for instance, what you can do is to spend more time in nature. What I personally do is that I take a piece of paper and I take a pen, I go for a walk, I go in the garden, I soak up the sunlight, and I just think. And you will see that you will get a lot of ideas. You'll think about events that happened in your life and you will give them another meaning, a positive meaning, whereas before you would have seen those events and acted like a victim. But now it's actually going to allow you to think more clearly, to have more clarity of mind, and to see events in a more objective way. Time away from social media also gives you more time in a day. Most people, they spend at least 3 to 5 hours every single day on social media or watching TV. Imagine everything that you could do with this amount of time on your hands every day. Most people I know, they always complain about not having enough time in a day to do everything that they want to do. The truth simply is that if you remove social media and TV from your life, you will have an extra 3 to 5 hours per day to do things that are going to help you to move forward in life. You could journal, try to understand yourself like we just talked about. You could read books on a specific subject. Maybe you want to learn to talk to people to become a better leader. You can read books on that. Maybe you want to learn to become a better cook. You can read books on that. You can also take that time to learn a high income skill like running paid ads, like copywriting. You can start your own YouTube channel. And I can tell you that if you remove entertainment, social media, that excuse of not having enough time in a day to start a business, to write a book, to go to the gym, this excuse literally goes out the window. It's not that we don't have enough time in a life to do what we want. It's that we use our time so poorly. We waste it on things that don't matter. Think about it. At the end of your life, on your deathbed, are you going to be glad that you spent so many hours watching other people's lives on social media? Would you not instead rather focus on your own goals, your own accomplishments, writing your own story instead of being the spectator to other people's story? The fourth rule to follow on a dopamine detox is no PMO, no porn, no masturbation, no orgasm. The reason for that is that these things, they spike your dopamine levels to a crazy degree. Like the things that we just talked about, the other items on the list that you should remove for a dopamine detox, they're nothing compared to PMO. And the thing that you have to realize is that it's not just about the kind of dopamine that it's going to release in your body. It's also going to change your brain chemistry to watch porn. It will distort your view of intimacy because you're literally viewing something in a third person when in real life you're going to do it in first person. Like how f***ed up is that? And let's face it, when you're done with PMO, how well do you feel afterwards? Do you feel good about yourself? Do you feel proud of yourself? Or do you feel down? Do you feel like shit? Because internally, you know, you wasted your energy, you wasted your time. Excessive PMO also leads to trouble in your dating life. Overall, there's no reason not to remove PMO from your life, and especially if you're on a dopamine detox. Now, the last thing that I need to touch on is how long should you do a dopamine detox for? What I recommend for most people is that they do the dopamine detox for 5 to 7 days. I know that for some people, 5 to 7 days doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, 5 to 7 days of dopamine detox with the rules that we just mentioned, it is enough to reset your dopamine levels to baseline. And after you successfully completed the dopamine detox, the goal is of course to keep limiting those activities, to not just fall right back to instant gratification. Otherwise, what's the point of doing a dopamine detox in the first place? Because really, what a dopamine detox allows you to do is that it allows you to reset your dopamine levels like we just talked about, but by subtracting all of the waste from your life, you will later on be able to add more things to your life. So at the end of your dopamine detox, what you can do is that you can start reincorporating things into your life, such as adding in a few hours of deep work per day. And you will see that you will be much more focused, you'll have a lot more clarity of mind, and you will be able to get into a state of flow easily, rather effortlessly compared to before. I truly believe that doing a dopamine detox will absolutely change your life for the better. Let me know in the comments down below how long you're going to do a dopamine detox for and what rules are you going to follow. I wish you the best on your journey. And with that said, I will see you on the next one.